And we are live. I think
Awesome.
I think the settings are okay and the sound should be okay. Um, we're gonna be waiting for people in chat to give a quick feedback, hopefully, about the sound.
Okay.
Um, so how are you doing today?
I am really good. Yourself?
I'm doing really good. CogentCanine. Am I saying that right with my stupid French
It's
accent?
CogentCanine.
Canine.
Yes.
I say it with a French accent, I guess.
Oh, that's fine. And truMalma?
Yeah. Or you can just call me Pat or Malma is good.
Pat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to use Malma, but somebody decided to steal my name, so
Oh, no.
yeah.
Sorry to YouTube.
Well, I used to play World of Warcraft with the name Malma for like a year and a half, 2 years, like intensively.
Oh, right on. You big
Yeah.
gamer?
I guess so. I guess you could call me a big gamer. Yes.
I definitely call myself a big gamer.
Really?
I enjoy my video games. Oh, yeah.
What kind of video games do you like, generally speaking?
I like, I have an Xbox One, so I play like lots of console games. I think I just got done beating Tomb Raider and some story, Bioshock, the new high def series that they came out with for the Xbox One. So that was really good. I enjoy my campaigns and also owning noobs on like Call of Duty and stuff. So the whole thing.
Nice. Yeah, when you say BioShock, do you mean like how they revamped the game, or there's a new one out?
No, yeah, they just revamped it for the Xbox One. All of them came out originally for the on the 360, so they improved the graphics and put it up on the Xbox One. So
Yeah, I
it
think
comes in a series now.
I think I have it on the computer.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's really good. The graphics are way better now, and that's probably one of my favorite games of all time, BioShock series. So,
Fucking sweet. I didn't know. I didn't know you're a gamer.
oh yeah,
So yeah, so the public, let's see. Howdy, Rosie's here. Okay, people are here. How chat, can you let us know how are the sound levels? By the way. Um Okay, so everything's working well. So basically, why I really wanted to start this series on my YouTube channel and why I'm really happy you contacted me for this is because I feel like there's too much of a big disconnect between people and not enough dialogue. Um,
oh
so,
absolutely, yeah.
so
It's big. It's kind of blood sport on Twitter nowadays, isn't it? Everyone's down, at each other's throats with everything.
I think it's counterproductive. We have like a way bigger fish to fry over here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All the infighting is really stupid. Uh,
Yeah.
your channel, I really thought it was interesting because how I had found it, I'm not sure exactly, but you were getting quite a bit of hate because you're anonymous. Um,
Uh, yeah, well, I was getting hate for that. I have an Instagram, so like I've shown my face in videos, but yeah, they people think that I'm anonymous because I use the avatar, but
oh, I didn't know about
I'm
that.
not actually anonymous. I have an Instagram. People can go check out my Instagram and all that. They want to see what I look like.
Okay, sorry, my earphones unplugged. Sorry. Say that again. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I have an Instagram, so people would think I'm anonymous because I use the wolf avatar, but in the Sargon video, I show my face at the beginning, and then also people can check me out at CogentCanine on Instagram if they want to see my face. So
So basically, the only qualms those people had against your video was that, and it's bullshit.
yeah, they just wanted to get mad for some reason because I attacked their buddy, but I get that a lot given I go after a lot of YouTubers, so I'm kind of used to it at this point.
I really enjoyed your video. I personally I like don't know much about Sam Harris, but I noticed you had a lot of videos of his showings and things like that.
Yeah, I do. I have I'll post his waking up podcast to the channel a lot. So uh he was probably one of the people I first started watching that got me into atheism and kind of started to change my mind about how I look at the world and everything. So I think he's definitely I think he's done that for a lot of people. And yeah, he's a really good philosopher.
I really have to agree with that. I think he has a good way of presenting things. That's a quality I think it's really important. I feel like trying to explain things to people in the right way is a is a quality that most people like they don't have it, they don't really care to get, but he
Right.
has
Yeah.
that. He knows how to speak to people.
Yeah. And especially being able to say what you mean without also ostracizing a huge section of like YouTube. You know, if you say one wrong thing, then everyone kind of jumps on you and then defines all your other views around that. Kind of what we were hinting at earlier with, you know, if someone wants to get mad at you for something, they can pretty much just look through your videos. They'll find something to get mad at you for it, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know.
Yeah.
They don't even listen usually. The people that do that, they don't even listen to what you say.
Oh no, they've made up their mind already, and now they're just out to get you.
Uh, so yeah, basically why I went straight for the Sam Harris stuff is because I told one of my viewers or a few of my viewers that I was gonna have this chat, and so I described you as somebody that does agree a lot with Sam Harris, and as soon as I said that, somebody said, "Was Sam Harris the race realist?"
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
And I thought maybe it was a good way to segue for what we're talking about. Do
Yeah,
you?
sure. He recently had a conversation with Ezra Klein from Vox, and this has got him in a bunch of heat. Vox continually writes papers about him because he had a podcast with Charles Murray a little bit ago, where he pretty much just had the discussion with Charles Murray about race realism and about IQ amongst different demographics. And it's not so much that I think Sam pushes any of this. I just think he really fights for the conversation to be able to be had instead of just being shut down immediately. And especially when we talk about race or we talk about religion or we talk about any of these types of issues, you're going to have people like Vox, people on YouTube that just have a problem with the conversation happening in the first place. So I would say he's not a real big advocate for race realism and doesn't use it in the same way that the alt right does. But I would say, yeah, he's definitely willing to have the conversation. And I am as well. But I think a lot of people on YouTube, they just hear race realism, they assume racist, they assume, you know, all these types of things. And I've been getting that with, with Sam a lot lately too. You know, you like Sam Harris, well, you must be this, or that because he thinks this about race realism. So
Well, fuck, I was shocked when I heard that at first because not only my viewers tend to be like not like that,
mm-hmm.
but I was like Sam Harris out of everybody really like.
Right. Yeah. He's the racist out of everyone.
It was, basically, one of my questions I had about this, I guess, like, I feel like it would be important that we, like, all start agreeing on definitions of things, you know? And so I was wondering,
Yeah.
what would you classify as a race realist? What do you think somebody needs to do to be able to be classified that way, not so for it not to be wrong? Because
Right.
I have
Yeah.
my own opinion on this, but
It's complicated because lots of people, I wouldn't know the exact definition. I could give you what I think it is. I would think that a race realist is someone just that accepts that there's differences biologically among races. And this, obviously, there's a nature element. So there's the experience and, your upbringing. But I also think that it's scientifically proven that there is also differences among races biologically, like bone density and muscle fibers and things like this. So you could qualify yourself as a race realist without ever really wanting to touch on the IQ aspect. Where that comes into play is in Psych 101 in college. They teach you that the different demographics will score differently on IQ tests. Now, this could be due to environment or it could be due to genetics. It's most common.
or both.
It's most likely that it's both.
Yeah.
But the thing is that people want to say, oh, because you're a race realist, you think it's all genetic, or because you deny race realism, you think it's all environmental. I think most reasonable people can look at the facts and say, well, obviously, that's why we classify people as a race because it's useful in grouping people, not so much that it's fun or like it's my favorite thing to do or anybody else's. It's just it's a good way to put people in groups and then get data from them. So I would say that a race realist is just someone that accepts that there is going to be a certain genetic component to race and ethnicity.
Because I feel like the definition you just said, I guess it's is what a lot of people will use, but
Hmm.
for me, I don't know, for some reason, the way I feel it when I hear it and I say it, it feels to me like it would have to be somebody that makes it their main focus, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
sure.
So it's not because you realize there's a this or that happening that you necessarily should be labeled on that. I feel like if you make it your like topic of conversation and that's all you look for and that's all you talk about, then I think yes, you would probably fall in that category. But generally speaking, like the way you described it, like most of the world would be qualified as very realist.
Well, right, but a lot of people won't even bite the bullet and say the things that there are any uh, actual science-based differences among races. You have these bleeding heart SJWs who will
Oh, I
say,
agree.
there is no difference whatsoever. And even to talk about, let's just say how you find the long distance runners are oftentimes from Kenya. There's reasons for this because of the altitude makes it so they've
Well,
evolved to
evolution.
have long distance running skills. And these types of conversations, just because you're pinpointing a certain demographic, people get very uncomfortable in doing that. And I would say absolutely the people who spend their entire time on the internet speaking about race and the differences among them, and it seems to be what they're obsessed about. I definitely get wary of these people, but I don't think the conversation in general, or just to dabble in it or have it, is automatically become a racist like a lot of people think.
Well, yeah, that's why I was kind of like questioning the word race realist as is. Like, I think maybe
Yeah.
it's not even the right word to use because now it's just convoluting everything.
Yeah, it's been co-opted by the alt-right to kind of mean a different thing than people intend it to now. So that's why I don't go around calling myself a race realist. I just call myself someone who, like, a proponent of science. So I think it's just easier to do that than to get into the race realist labeling.
Yeah, so I guess if you label yourself, you're gonna say atheist, basically, right?
Oh, if I'm
Scientist.
oh well, I'm
It's not
agnostic
science oriented. I
atheist.
mean, you're not.
Well, no, I mean I am. I'm just saying if I were to label myself, like if you were to call me something, I'd be an agnostic atheist. But yeah, I don't
Right.
go around with the label race realist. I wouldn't, just because it's
Oh
been
no, definitely
co-opted by
not.
the alt right, I wouldn't consider myself.
Well, I didn't even see you post anything in that manner. I was just going back to the Harris thing. I was just like, I
Oh,
thought it
right,
would be a
exactly.
nice
It's crazy how people are
because I wouldn't
basically
qualify
trying to
him as
rake him over
one.
the coals.
I wouldn't qualify him as a race realist. Like
Yeah,
like even if he's able to admit like I get that's where I guess I wanted to go. I think like even me that like spends a lot of time listening to everybody is still very confusing even just for me. Like the
right.
term
Yeah,
is just
yeah. That's why I think it's not even like That's why I don't appropriate the term really, just because it is so vague.
yeah. Well, fuck. Okay. So that's cool. So yeah, basically your channel what I've seen is basically you try to tackle stuff about the actuality and stuff about atheism basically. Is that right?
Yeah, atheism, science. I do. Basically, I just try to call out bad ideas wherever I see them. If that ends up being on the left, that ends up being on the right, so be it. But I'd say, for the most part, a lot of my videos have to do with Jordan Peterson and Stefan Molyneux and kind of going after extreme versions of ideologies, like let's say anarcho-capitalism. Stefan Molyneux's an anarcho-capitalist, so I kind of, for a while there, I got caught on that and was fighting against that for a little bit just because I found it so ridiculous.
Oh, we can definitely agree on that one.
Yeah. Have you
Okay.
ever watched Stefan Molyneux at all?
Well, I've heard him like once in a while. He went on one good rant that I've seen once,
Yeah.
and then
Oh yeah, he's got stuff to say.
so I followed him. I started just checking out what he had to say, and then he was giving advice on topics that you could tell he was way over his head, like women and things like that. And
Mhm.
like I'm not even saying in a from a oh my god what he was saying about women. I'm just saying like the advice he was giving was just plain wrong, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't
he's
take him
also a
seriously.
self-help guru. Apparently,
Yeah.
he takes calls in all the time to his show, Freedom Aim Radio, and
Yeah,
just
it's
gives
one of
people
those. Yeah, it's one of
life
those I'm talking
advice.
about. He was
Yeah.
the advice he was giving was really bad, and it
Oh,
just
it scares
snapped.
the shit out of me sometimes, the advice he gives. I'm like, no, run away from Stefan, run.
Don't listen to this crazy man.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. The people that are on any extreme in general seem to be a good lolcow. Honestly, maybe that's why I
Mhm.
like your channel so much.
Yeah, well, I think it's I get a little uneasy with myself when I'm going into things that are a little more nuanced and finding myself being just as confident in saying it. I feel more confident in saying things about extreme versions of things, which I don't think there's actually a lot of people calling out even that type of nonsense, just the extreme versions of things. So I feel like I feel pretty at home just doing like type of debunking videos. I can find Stefan constantly misrepresenting stats, so that's always fun. And then Jordan is never, he's always an endless supply of craziness, so there's always something to talk about there.
Yeah, that's something that I personally I really appreciate Jordan, and I do see the how do you say, the weaknesses in his arguments sometimes, where he, like everybody, when you focus on something too much, you magnify it so much, and that's all you see everywhere. So that definitely for sure.
Yeah, it would be his lack of the ape he the way he speaks about religion mainly is what I have gripes with. But when he's talking about SJW stuff or any type of free speech stuff, you know, it's I agree with him there. I just I think he goes off the rails when he starts talking about trying to justify his Christianity when he doesn't even seem to believe in the resurrection of Jesus. So it's just kind of odd.
I think he takes the Bible and all of that extremely metaphorically, and I like to think of the way he uses the Bible as uh like a kind of an instruction manual, and it makes me think to Nikola Tesla, that said that he found a bunch of his discoveries in the Bible and things like that. So maybe
Yeah,
maybe that's why I appreciate his way to look at it a little bit more than others.
no, I mean I can get that. He definitely will go through and not take it in this literal interpretation. He'll kind of give a layer of meaning on top of it. It's just I guess when he does that, I'm a little bit skeptical of how he's coming to the conclusions and for the reasons that he's putting so much emphasis on religion in general and not maybe he doesn't point out any of the bad stuff from what I can see really, but
I think the reasoning behind it is because he actually believes it's gonna help save people or something. I think that's his
right, yeah.
reasoning.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think he believes in it as well, but that's where me and him would differ dramatically because I think it's in whole it's going to hurt mostly.
Well,
I believe.
you say that, but since his rise to superstar, let's say, he actually did manage to help a lot of people that way.
Right. So this would be the same in accordance with saying like Christianity has helped a bunch of people or Islam has helped a bunch of people. There's no denying that Jordan Peterson has helped a bunch of people through things, but it's how he helps them. If it is long lasting advice or if it's not somewhat of a band aid of to to get them through what they're feeling now, and they're going to run into all the same problems, you know, down the line. Given that he's using these stories out of the Bible, where I feel it's at least when I'm looking for advice and how to operate, it's not so much I don't need these old stories revamped in a new way. I need more advice along the lines of how to live like just as a normal human without any of that stuff because it's nothing that I really hold close to my heart at all. I could care less about the stories in there, you know.
Well, I agree with that, but I think he addresses more the people who don't have any of that, who feel completely empty and who need that. I think that's the
Right.
people that's his main demographic. So maybe in the end, if he can if he can help a lot of people with this like very dissolved version of religion, then maybe it is a good thing after all. So
Yeah, it could possibly, it definitely could end up being a good thing. I would just say that just like any other means of helping people, it's not always what they think it is. And so if Christianity is helping you to live a happy life, I would say that you'd probably be better off um, living in a different way, given that it's more truthful and to find meaning while also remaining truth based, I think is more important. Now, I know Jordan doesn't constantly talk about how these things are true in the Bible, I just think is for my tastes, it's just completely the wrong direction in how I try to think about the world. I'm more the self-help type of stuff I look for is someone like Sam Harris or someone who talks about mindfulness more than they do stories in the Bible. But
Oh,
that's
I could definitely respect that. One guy that really worked for me, and a lot of people hate him apparently, but it's actualize.org. That guy.
oh, the
Anyways,
bald guy.
yeah, that guy. Well,
Yeah,
he's
I know him.
self-made millionaire. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's that guy's pretty cool. I've seen some of his stuff.
If you
Even
listen
seeing
to what he says on repeat, it can really help.
on repeat. You mean
Well,
is
so
that a
this,
video or like if I just listen to it on repeat?
well, it's just like you listen to a video and then a little bit, maybe a month or two later, you'll listen to it again and things like that. Like play in
Oh,
the
gotcha.
background as you do other stuff and things like that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like certain videos
But
from
people hate
people that
him.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a bunch of his stuff, but he definitely has his haters for sure.
Anyways, yeah, we definitely got sidetracked there, but no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. We always got to be mindful of, sometimes the ways we're gonna use to try to make things better could be dangerous, and that's also how I see identity politics. Trying to
Yeah,
fight fire with fire is, to be honest, probably the worst solution. Um, so I get what you see with Jordan Peterson. I get what you say. I mean, I
yeah.
definitely respect that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely get why people like Jordan. It's just we'll see what the future entails with him. I guess is the best I could say about it now. But definitely with identity politics, I'm on board there. I think it's divisive as all hell when you start taking people's identity and group orientation over them as an individual and what they have to say and think. You can see this coming to fruition with people like Kanye. The left is absolutely losing their mind over someone talking about his what he wants to talk about, and because it's not following in line with the way they think he should be acting. So yeah, identity politics is the absolute worst when it comes to actually having a conversation, you know.
No, definitely. Well, I'm glad we agree on that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's important that people don't stop themselves from talking to people because they disagree with them. Because in the end, we can all be allies in a bigger fight. You know.
Yeah, there's always it. You're right. People do seem to get bogged down in the details about things. When if we looked at the bigger picture, hey, we all want the same things. We want what's best for our family. We want to live happy lives, and
Freedom.
it's just freedom. It's just how we obtain those things, and how much is too much. So it's more of the nuanced arguments that I think everyone kind of finds themselves hating each other over when they actually agree with most of the things in life.
And then it's stupid because then that's how we get controlled even more. What kind of power do we have if we're all scattered?
Right, and then asking the government to take care of a problem for you instead of
Yeah.
figuring out that it's not always in your best interest to be like, hey, government, solve my problems that I'm having with my common man. It's like a lot of the times we do need to learn to come together and speak on these issues without it going to the court or a new law being passed, when we could just maybe learn to live with things, or handle things definitely in a more appropriate way.
No, definitely.
Like if you look at the Count Dracula thing,
Dankula.
Dankula thing, that's absolutely insane to me, and that seems to be heading here towards the U.S. That type of PC mentality where you can't make jokes about the Holocaust, or
Well,
and
to be honest, if that case would have happened in Canada, I'm not sure we would have had a different outcome.
well, yeah, Canada is that's what I'm saying. Canada, along with some other nations, their laws on like even I know a comedian that was taken to court and prosecuted in Canada for saying a joke not too long
You
ago.
mean
So
Mike Ward?
yeah,
I was
yeah.
I was on. There's an article that said, "Oh, somebody made like a really bad comment to the guy that's suing him." Da da da, and I was at the top. Like my comment towards the guy was at the top. Like I was really
Oh, really?
involved into trying to spread the word for that because man, what they did to Mike Ward was disgusting,
No,
and
it
he
absolutely
lost.
is.
He lost.
Yeah, and people they for some reason they don't see because he said something offensive and also the punishment wasn't he didn't
Big,
get his hand chopped off or something. It's like
yeah.
they see it as a non-issue.
I think
It's
it was
like
like
that's
$100,000 or something.
right,
It was
and
a
it
lot.
it starts in increments. You know, it's not your freedoms aren't taken away all in one chunk. They're beaten down over time, right? So they'll start by fining comedians, and then they'll start by fining shit you say on the internet. And you even have in Scotland right now where Count Drancula, I keep forgetting his name, but
Dankula.
Dancula, yeah. Um, they actually started Twitter, the Twitter over there, the police station's like, don't say anything online bad because we'll find it.
Oh, I saw
It's like
that.
they're threatening what you do on the internet. That's why the internet's fun, and I definitely don't want that taken away from me.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Where I wanted to go with that. Well, fuck. So, do you think? Because I guess you've probably been following what's going on in the Middle East a little bit, maybe with Iran, I guess, or did you see like the hijab ban? They're not enforcing it anymore and things like that.
I just recently saw the protests against it. Did Iran just say that they won't be enforcing it anymore?
Well, I think since like this, was it in Iran? I think it was in Iran. Since
I know they did in Saudi
December,
Arabia. They start driving.
they basically the police said Iran hijab ban. Uh, Iran police not enforce. Sorry, guys. I had the article open, but I closed all my tabs when I started this. Yeah, the police in Tehran say women will no longer be arrested for not wearing it. So most policemen don't give fines and don't arrest women for not wearing it anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, so I guess it's a step in the direction, in a certain direction. And in Saudi Arabia, they're taking tiny steps. They're allowing them to drive with permission now
Yeah, and that's going to be actually hasn't been implemented yet. They have until next year
to
to
start.
actually start it. And as well with Iran, I'm always suspicious of what these nations say versus what they carry out, especially a place like Iran, who isn't very honest. They don't have honest leaders. So, what happens inside Iran? I would definitely say it's in the right direction if Iran said that, and that just goes to show you what a little bit of world pressure can do to a nation
Yeah,
when you actually peer your eyes at them, enough eyes, and say, "Hey, this is a
this is
effed up
not okay.
situation." It
Yeah.
really does create a situation where they feel like they have to do
They
something.
have to
And
evolve. It's like North Korea. Now they're looking at everybody and they're like, oh shit, we're the barbarians over here. Like,
right, and it's like a lot of these people on the left, they just want to excuse it instead of calling it out, and that's the thing that's going to actually
it
do
stops
something
change you.
is talking about it, not
Yeah.
excusing it.
So I guess what are your thoughts on it? Do you think do you feel hopeful about this? Do you think it's just to gain time? What do you think?
Well, I'd have to do some research on it. I know that I've seen a lot of protests going on from the women in Iran. So I would say that if they did do that, that would be a big reason as to why. And absolutely, that would be fantastic. I think the Middle East um, is can be absolutely horrible to women. And what I find funny is a lot of people be like, "Well, it's Muslim on Muslim violence, so why does it matter?" And it's like it matters because these people like if it's like if I was indoctrinated as a Christian and believed um, doing a certain thing was good for me, right? People can be confused about what they think is best for them. So let's
Oh
say the
yeah.
women in Iran who think they actually enjoy wearing the hijab, right? They think they should be covered given that what the Quran says. That's the stuff I fight against because I think it's absolutely disgusting that people take in a religion from 600 years ago and then form their lives around it as to how they act today. I mean, I'd want to feel the wind through my hair. I wouldn't want to constantly have to be
Yeah.
covered because God tells me to.
Well, what you just said about the win, actually, because the reason why I think the ban is actually they're not enforcing as much is because there's a lot of videos of women in Iran walking around without their hijabs, and because of the amount of those videos, it makes me believe that I mean, or else they're all really ballsy, which they are, but I mean, I think it's because it's becoming more lenient, probably because the older generation is dying out and the youth is like fighting for it. So I think it's a big like youth against the old thing going
Oh,
on.
absolutely. And I
But
think it's
but
you're right. Go ahead.
When you said the wind in the hair, it just made me think. One of the videos, it was actually one of a beautiful woman, and she had taken it off, and she was like screaming to the other woman. She's like, "I feel the rain on me," like for the
Yeah.
first time in I don't know how long. She said probably her whole life, and I was holding back tears, you know. So I don't understand how anybody can look at those videos and not see what's going on.
Yeah, it's the kind of moral relativism that people bring to the table, saying no matter what way people act is completely fine because they have no way of coming down on an absolute. Like this is unacceptable because they feel as if they're intruding on other people's culture and other people's what they hold dear, right? Where's my authority to say this person should want to feel the wind through their hair, they would say. And I would say, well, the fact that the person doesn't care about these things, I think, is an indication as to where their mindset lies.
It's
If you're
worrisome.
more than accepting to put yourself in let's say not the hijab, but let's say the burqa, then I question what you value in life.
Burka, that's the full body thing, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck, I'm happy we're having this talk because I feel like it's important to hear more hopeful voices, you know? And believe it or not, I found what you just said was that you're pretty hopeful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if enough people see the wrong in something, then change will happen. But it's about getting everyone to see the wrong in something, And we had the same problems back in the day with slavery. It's people just didn't have the wherewithal to say this is a problem, and I think we're kind of coming across issues now that is going to have the same type of movement happen to where everyone kind of goes, well, yeah, this is fucked up. So
Well, fuck. Okay, I'm really really happy about that. Well, okay, I had one question for you. I left at the bottom because I was like, okay, this is kind of like I don't know, a bit of a funny question, but because I don't believe that you're like a fanboy or something. I just see that you found a successful way to make a channel and found
right.
interesting videos to make. But so that being said, what do you disagree with Sam Harris on?
I just recently made a video with actually where it was my first video where I made a video against Sam Harris. You guys can check that out on the channel. But it was recently how he was on stage with this guy, Christian Pilinko or something. And he had a conversation with Stefan Molyneux after the fact because this guy, Christian Pilinko, whatever his name is, on stage talked about how Stefan Molyneux was a Holocaust denier and had said certain things about him. Now, Sam Harris afterwards, after having a conversation with Stefan, where Stefan said, "Hey, I'm not a Holocaust denier. I'm not all these things the guy says," he goes back and deletes the section from the video. So I think as of late, he is kind of moving to the right side of the political spectrum, just in the way that he will protect views where he doesn't absolutely know if Stefan was a Holocaust denier, because there's a video up where he definitely questions the mainstream accounts of the Holocaust. So someone could easily walk away from that video thinking he's a Holocaust denier and accuse Christian Pilalenko of libel when he said that to Stefan, which is absolutely insane. It's not libel. So I'd say he's definitely puts his neck out there unnecessarily a lot of the times to defend people that don't need defending, like Stefan Molyneux, because I've seen a lot more of the actual tactics that he uses that are dishonest that I think he's just kind of naive of. He's not on YouTube all the time, right? So he
Yeah,
doesn't see half the shit that's going on or half the stuff that's being said about him. So
yeah, he's
I think he
busy
gets
and he sees everything through the filter.
exactly, yeah. So I that would be my criticism of him, I guess, is that he's not willing to he wasn't even willing to look up to see if Stefan said anything about the Holocaust before he clipped it out because Stefan said so. And that seemed a little odd to me. So
Maybe he was afraid to be associated with it, just at
oh
all,
yeah, well, right.
because
But
that would make sense.
but the way the conversations happen online anymore, to try to get a libel case over someone saying something, and if you were to distance yourself from it on stage by saying, I don't know if that's true, he wouldn't, in my belief, he's not going to be held accountable. And
No,
but
no,
regardless of
maybe he just doesn't even want his name like in the same sentence as Holocaust
Stefan.
denier,
Oh right, no,
like at all.
yeah, I can get that. I would have preferred he doesn't go in after the fact and edit things.
I
But
agree with that, but maybe it
other
was.
than that,
Are you
he's
sure it
more
was him that did that?
Oh yeah, he did. He talked about it on his
Oh, he said that.
yeah.
Okay.
But he's more libertarian than me in some instances. So
So,
I might be I haven't completely come down on this. I don't know where exactly I stand, but I think that if you should have to bake a cake for a gay wedding, let's say, and he wouldn't say that.
okay. So that's kind of like thank you. Now you actually answer my question a bit more. So that's a big difference. So he believes that like businesses should be allowed to refuse to whoever they
Right.
want.
Yes.
I guess I tend to fall a little bit more on that side, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, and but the reasons he's given for not taking into consideration why you should be able to say no, you can't have a I'm not going to bake your gay cake here is I can't see the difference in that and discriminating among racial lines, and he doesn't see a difference in it. He just thinks that society is at a point to where we don't need to ward off that type of thinking anymore. We've advanced enough to where we don't need to have discrimination laws, where I feel as if we do.
Well, so but the thing is with those laws is they're not enforced in the same way, right? So
Uh,
did you see the
right.
video? I think it was Steven Crowder. He made a video where he was going around asking people to bake him a gay cake in
Mhm.
a bunch of Muslim bakeries,
Right. Yeah.
and
No, and I
like
would say that the Muslims have to do it too. Everybody has to do it. So I'm not going to be like, hey, Christians do it, but Muslims, you're fine. You don't have to. I feel like if everyone participates in society, everyone pays taxes. I definitely don't want to find a scenario where there's a black couple broken down on the side of the highway who asks to get a hotel room, and it's completely legal for that hotel to discriminate against them based on race. I feel is maybe he's a little too hopeful for where we find ourselves in.
I get where you're coming from with that angle though for sure.
So yeah, and I would say like same with the gay cake. Like if you live in a town like where there's not a small town, let's say, and the one place that bakes a cake says go fuck yourself, I find it I don't want to constantly try to make laws to ward against people being immoral, but I think if we're going to do it in situations for race, then sexual orientation shouldn't be much different. So
But
that's kind of where I
but at the same time, don't you think? And I'm just gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here.
yeah, absolutely.
So don't you think that let's say you refuse access to gay people in that place or whatever, don't you think like people now with the internet and boycotts and all this media stuff, don't you think like it would be enough to teach that people that they'd rather make the cake than not?
Yeah, I think I can understand the argument saying, given how there's the internet nowadays, if people were to act in these ways, there's enough people who would find it morally reprehensible to put them out of business.
Yeah, literally.
So,
Yeah.
right, but in situations, let's say if we just took away the discrimination laws tomorrow and we said, okay, it's fine that you have white establishments, it's fine that you have black establishments. I know for a fact that you're going to have lots of black establishments that don't allow white people, and you will have lots of white establishments that don't allow black people. It's just asking if we're okay with that as a
Well,
nation. Now,
so
I think that people will follow the line of thinking saying, yeah, we shouldn't force someone to do something. But when the actual reality sets in, I think they would be like, wait, this is kind of
okay, I get where you're bringing this again, and again, I agree with that for sure. But at the same time, wouldn't there be a difference between like refusing accesses to your facility and services, and like asking to make something that's what you call it?
against what they
No,
believe.
like to create like let's say you can't go you can't go at a costume shop and say, "Well, make me a gay suit." Like if the guy's not good at making gay suits, like you can't force him to make to craft you something that you could ask him to craft you something that he already crafted. He's like, "Yeah, well, I make suits like this. This is how I make the suits." And then you say, "Oh shit, but I don't want any of the suits you already make." And then you be like, "Oh, well, make a suit just the way I want it." Well, it's like, well, I haven't learned how to make those suits. Because there's in Australia, there was this guy he's a barber. I don't know if you heard about him. He's a barber. I think it's in Australia. I think.
I know I
Don't
haven't
quote
heard
me
about
on
it.
this one. But he's a barber, and this woman came in with her little girl, and started this whole scene when the barber wouldn't cut her hair. She wanted the barber to shave a little girl or something. I don't know. And he's like, go to the hair salon across the street. And this woman started this whole fucking thing. So I think like he's offering a service, like maybe, you know what I mean? So if the guy
Yes,
this was
it's
like,
like
okay, I want a cake like this, just the way you do the other ones, but just put this extra thing on the top, then I think it would be different.
yeah, no, I think we should reserve the right for people to be able to, let's say, if someone comes into their establishment and is just being an asshole, is just telling them to go fuck themselves every which way. I think we can
Well,
say in
that's not
these
what she did.
no, I know. I'm just trying to set it up. So we can
Yeah.
say in those situations, a person shouldn't be able to to do that. But I just don't understand with like discrimination laws as far as making it the same across the board, why we would accept it for a certain criteria but not another certain criteria. And I do believe that, yeah, there's always going to be these gray areas where it's like, is the person doing it based off of a hatred of this person, or are they doing it because the person was being an asshole to them? So,
Or maybe that's just not what they do.
or yeah, or maybe it's just they don't do whatever specific type of thing that you're asking for, right? Like the gay suit, or let's say a furry costume or something like that. Well, I would think in those situations, if it's just, it would be hard to decipher if the guy's doing it for the reasons if they're gay, or if he just really doesn't make those types of suits, right? I would say if he's doing it because he really doesn't make those types of suits, well, then that's fine. That's his
But
niche.
that's why
He doesn't
those
have.
laws are dangerous, because the guy could just go and say, this guy refused to make a suit because I'm gay. And then the laws there are already in place. That's why I don't like legislating all this stuff.
All right, but I think we could look in that situation and to see if the guy had made something similar in the
Yeah, but
past to
context
see if
doesn't
he
matter
was
anymore. We
true.
figured
But
that out
it's
with
just
Count Dankula. Like, context doesn't matter anymore.
right. Yeah, it's just I'm definitely not solid on this issue. It's just I have a hard time saying we're gonna, because obviously if it was two Jewish people or two Mexican people that came in and asked, and that person said no because you're Mexican, we're not doing it. I don't see a big difference in doing that and saying no because you're marrying a man. And
Well, it's because
but
they're asking her to
I
make a
definitely get the
cake
argument.
that they never made. Like, they didn't ask for a model of cake that they make in that store. That's the whole problem, kind of.
Well, right, but
Because
what's the
if
difference in making if someone comes in and says, "Okay, I want Barney Rubble or a fictional character," so if they put on their sign, "We only make these specific types of cakes," why would they ever put up, "We only make these specific types of cake that are straight, no gay cakes"? It seems like a weird distinction.
what did they really have a no gay cake sign?
Well, no, I'm just saying, as far
Oh,
as
that's how far you
you're
could
saying
go. You
they're not
mean?
making this because they only make a certain type of thing, and it's like, well, what does it mean to only make a straight cake? Because I don't make gay cakes, or I don't make gay suits. I just don't see what that even really
No,
means
well,
as
not
far
gay.
as.
No, it's just well, because I was bringing it back to, again, because these laws, once you put them for, like I was saying, now women are a protected class. So the guy like has to pay all these court stuff
Oh,
with
okay.
a
Are you
child
saying?
and a
Are you? Oh, so
family
in
because of
Australia, it's
women.
in Australia you can't have like a boys' haircut place.
Well,
Is that it?
I don't know. I think the case is not settled yet. I think it's still
Yeah. So
ongoing right now.
in those types of situations, well, like where if it was they just wanted to specialize in men's haircuts, I would say that's fine.
It's a
That you
barber.
can, yeah, you can totally have that store. But if it's men's haircuts and then a gay guy comes in and says, "I want a haircut," and he's like, "No," but it's like, "Well, I'm still a man." It's like, "Yeah, but I just don't like you." And it's like,
But that's not
at
the
what point?
situation.
Well, right. So I'm just trying to come up with situations
That's
in
why
where
too
it could
many
be a
laws
problem.
are exactly, they're horrible. The laws are put there, and they're too, basically, the more laws you put in, the more you can twist them up to create more loss of freedom.
Right. So, but it's about whether you are willing to accept that end of it or the other end of it. The other end of it would be that people are more than willing and capable of discriminating. Now, are you willing to accept that, or this kind of having to go through a bunch of cases to decipher them. I
Be-
mean, I get both sides of the argument. It's just I can't find myself making the distinction between sexual orientation and the current laws. Now we could say let's take away the current laws, but we'd have to say, well, what's that gonna do if we take away the current laws? But I definitely understand your point that it can make a situation where it's unclear if the person's actually discriminating or if they're just doing what they wanted to do.
well, I guess the big part I think that get lost maybe is because like this is not my first language and I don't express myself even now well in French.
Oh, you sound just fine. I can understand you perfect.
But I think the big difference here is like if those persons would have walked in a restaurant and just wanted to eat a meal, and a person said, "No, I'm not serving you because you're gay," it would be different that if you'd go to somebody and be like, "I want you to artistically craft me something that you really have no interest in crafting."
Right, but why would they have no interest in crafting it?
That's the
what I'm
thing.
wondering.
When I go to a tattoo artist, okay, and this is the thing I think many people don't know. If you go to a tattoo artist and you say, "I want a swastika on my forehead," or no, just a face tattoo, and you don't really have other tattoos or a hand tattoo and things like that, most tattoo artists will refuse to do it to you.
Mhm.
Why? Is
Right,
it because they're discriminating against Nazis or discriminating against face tattoos? No, it's because it's
I'd
not
more
something they
ask,
want to
like,
do.
I would just more ask, like, if the person doesn't want to do, like, let's say a rainbow flag.
No,
Like,
no, a tattoo artist, he has the right to say, he won't give you a reason. He's
well,
just gonna
right.
say, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
And why is the bake cake, the cake baker doesn't have the same right?
because I think that it's not.
It's not the
I don't
same
think
as
it's the same
refusing
type.
a
I don't think
service.
it's the same type as artistry because you could say that culinary arts, right? That's what they create, but he doesn't want to create it for anybody he doesn't want to. But at some point, we have to say if you're a business,
It's not the same as refusing access to a restaurant to somebody. You know what I mean? Because you're not just giving a service, you're creating
well,
something.
so I would say culinary arts, like if you're creating a dish,
Like
that
he's not gonna
you put
starve
love,
if you don't bake his cake. He's not gonna die if you don't do his tattoo.
right? But I'm just trying to come down on principled things here. I agree with you that nothing's going to happen to that person for not doing it, and I would agree that in situations where um, these laws, like against black people that we have, like if we took them away, there's nothing that's actually really happening to them. So I just think
No,
really
these laws
where
are there in place. They're not gonna move. Like I don't see why like now that we're talking about a different thing, people are like, okay, but if we do that, that means we gotta revert 50 years in racism, or I don't know, like
well, no,
it's
it's
just a
not. It's not
leap.
that we have to do that. It's just the question is asked. Then why for this and not for that? And that's really just the question I find
Well,
myself
because I just
asking.
explained to you, there's a difference between creating like a tattoo or like sculpting something.
Yeah, but I don't think it's legal for a tattoo person just to deny black people to do tattoos. I don't think
Well,
that's
if they're
legal.
not good, if they're not good at tattooing that sort of skin, some people like they're just not good at. Everybody has their specialties. If you know you're not gonna do a nice piece on somebody and you're just gonna butcher them, you're not gonna do it. That's what tattoo artists. There's no one that's gonna tell them they're wrong for refusing to tattoo somebody.
Well, right. I'm just trying to say that if you own a business in the U.S. as a tattoo parlor, there's discriminatory laws still. You can't deny service to someone because they're black.
No, no,
Is what
but
I'm
if
trying
you're
to
not
say.
able to do the job, if you're not good with that if you're not good with a certain type of skin, because to tattoo, example, black skin, you got to use beiges and things like that. You got to play with um, light spots and things like that. You
Yeah,
can't
no,
just
I
fill
agree.
in with
I'm just
black.
wondering if is it a law? I'm not. I'm
I
just wondering if it
I'm
is
pretty
one.
sure it's not. I think it would be really ludicrous to force people to do tattoos that they're not able to do.
Well,
That
we
sounds
force
totally
people.
ludicrous to me.
Well, right, and I'm not saying it's not ludicrous. I'm just saying there's other situations where these discrimination laws are forcing people to do things that they probably don't want to do if that's you know what I mean.
Well,
So
no,
I'm
no,
saying
but I
the
think there's a
laws.
difference between like serving a coffee to somebody and then creating
Right. So
something,
yeah, no, I would agree with the
tailoring.
distinction. I would agree with the distinction. I'm just saying that there is laws in place now that if you say I don't want to do this job for this specific reason, you get in trouble. You can't say to someone, I'm not making this artwork because you're black. Now they could secretly have those reasons, but you can't be that it's against the law to be upfront and saying I'm not doing this because of this. And we can say that's right or wrong. I'm just saying, as of
Okay,
now
so
in the U.S., that's what it is,
okay,
I
so
believe.
this is a totally different discussion that we could totally have as well. So the guy could have just said, "I'm not baking this cake," and not say why, and that should have been okay.
Well, right, but it's, and I agree. Like it's that. Can you see the difference in someone saying they're not doing something for one reason but actually have ulterior motives? Because that's why we did originally start discrimination laws, is because
Well, just because
people
I'm
were.
very anti-authoritarian, basically. Right now, I'm not. I'm not even full on libertarian. I have like protectionist tendencies and things like that. Like, so I'm not full on capitalist. I'm not full on libertarian.
Mhm.
I'm very centrist in my ways. And
Yeah, and I
now,
agree with a bunch of the points you're making. I
because
think
now you're. I'm not even that libertarian, and you're holding a pretty authoritarian idea right there. I don't
yeah,
even
it
know if
is.
you
No,
realize.
I do realize that saying "bake the cake, bigot" is an authoritarian leftist
Wait,
position. I understand that.
you say bigot as well? I didn't know.
No, it's just that's what people say. It's like a saying, like "bake the cake, bigot."
Well, you could have
That's
went like bake the cake and not go full at the bigot part.
well, no, I'm not
No,
saying
I'm
that.
just
I don't
teasing.
think
I'm
anyone's a
teasing. I'm
bigot. I'm just
teasing.
saying that's what people say
Not
as
this one. I'm
they're
teasing
talking
you.
about the
I'm
argument.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
No. So yeah, that's just a little parenthesis. I guess like it's cool that I figured out that I guess I'm more libertarian than you.
Oh yeah, I could have told you that from the beginning.
Well, I didn't know. I wasn't
No,
sure.
I know.
So let's look at the chat really quick. By the way, did you enjoy this talk? I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was great.
It's not done. Like we're still right now we done like 52 minutes. I just wanted to take a quick look at the chat. Some people have been writing the whole time. So what do you
Sure.
guys think, chat? Did you like this chat? Do you have any questions that for CogentCanine? Because I didn't activate. I could have put Streamlabs for donations and stuff, but because it was the first time and I just wanted to keep it simple, you know. So if anybody has any question in the chat, you can just at
Ooh,
me right
look,
now.
we have Jesus Christ in the comments.
I know I saw that.
A special guest.
That's the happy Jesus Christ.
I love that Jesus. He's my favorite one.
I know, the happy Jesus. So yeah, I'm checking the chat a little bit. I'll bake the cake, Rosie. I love Rosie. Rocio.
Yeah, but again, like that isn't this. It is an issue where I'm not completely decided on. I just find certain problems with it. I guess
I
that
I
trouble
think
me.
I think maybe it's just not specific enough. When the discussion is had, it stays too general.
Hmm.
So people are afraid that because it's too general, that means it gives too much leeway. Maybe that's it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it's just like, oh well, you just can't be a dick to people. It's like, well, that's a hard law to make. I definitely get that.
Well, I think maybe the conversation should be brought like in this where I was trying to bring it with like example the tattoo artist, and basically just making a difference between serving a coffee to somebody and creating something for somebody. You know,
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, I just think that the idea in which the creation is a problem. I just think that's it's not so much what's being created. I just think it's the reason why you're against creating it is, and if you're a business that profits off of the society, I would just say there's certain problems with discriminating against a certain population that also pays into this system.
well,
So
cause I personally I'm bisexual and wolf. I guess some people would say sapiosexual and shit like that. But so I get it. I would be pissed if that happened, but I would make a fucking ruckus about it, and I know most people would. But at the same time, I feel like it's just creating all this. When I saw the video of all the Muslims refusing to bake the cake for Steven Crowder, even then
mhm.
that didn't make me feel good at all. You know, if a Christian does it, it's not better. But that does that
Right.
mean that we should legislate everything? Like, I don't know.
No, and you're not going to get me wanting to legislate on other fronts just because I do on this one. So there's definitely other areas when we talk about free speech, being able to say what you want, being able to act any way you want as a private citizen. I'm completely down for that. The only reason I make a stipulation for business is because it's meant to serve the public. So that's why the distinction I would have there. But as far as free speech, saying what you want, not being censored, you're not going to have any arguments for censorship or not being able to say what you want.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, speaking of that, okay. So how would you feel about do you follow Jeff Holiday? I don't know. He posted
Oh yeah, I know Jeff.
he posted today. He was like, and I thought that was interesting. He posted he was like, I'm all for free speech and all of that. The only thing that makes me ever like question that, he says, like, really right now, or I'm extrapolating of what he said, but I'm saying it a different way. But he's like, but the pseudoscience people once in a while, like, because they're so dangerous. He's like, he considers that they might need to be censored. What would you
Right. So
what would be your
yeah.
stance on that?
Well, no, I think that people can be as big as idiots as they want all day long on the internet. I'm definitely not. I wouldn't be for
No, I don't
Holocaust
think they mean
denial
that on the
laws
internet. I
or
think he meant in general. Because, like, some of these people, they write books, they do seminars, word to mouth,
right.
then they go to sick kids, and then they do all this stuff. So there are horror stories. But I wouldn't agree with him that what he was implying with that question. It's going to be a good debate. I'm interested to watch it. But
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be for, even if someone has influence and they're influencing people the wrong way, I definitely wouldn't be for censoring them. It's more about being louder with reason. Like, hey, we
exactly.
actually have the right ideas over here.
Like, you got to, like, follow them around and be louder. Yeah.
Well, that's why we need the YouTube community get, going after a lot of these people and kind of doing that type of stuff.
Oh, you mean stop being so divisive and actually do what they're good at?
Well, as far as attacking bad ideas, I think that that's definitely something that YouTube's good at. I mean, at least the small community that does.
No, I agree. By the way, do you know about minds.com? I think, did I touch on that with you?
Yeah, I have a Minds. I think I posted like 3 of my videos
Yeah.
on there.
I think the people really underestimate how powerful that thing could be, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. I think we definitely need to try to start getting another platform because YouTube is just censoring a lot of people.
Well, because the reason I like Minds so much is not only because they got crypto, they got the point system, so people can encourage you just by clicking every hour, you gather points, and then you give it. Eventually, you got like 5,000, and you give it to your favorite person or whatever, things like that. That's
Yeah, I
cool.
thought some of the things they had on there were neat, like the Ethereum. You can set up an Ethereum account for people to give you currency or cryptocurrency. So
Yeah,
I thought
yeah. I
it definitely has lots of things that YouTube doesn't, and I think YouTube's just so big that people don't know where else to go, for views. So
I think like now that the downfall of Facebook is happening, they changed their whole setup there. I think it's really gonna potentially blow up. I think basically their biggest strength is that they managed to stay untarnished from the alt right label.
yeah, true. Like YouTube tried to protect against that way too much.
No, but like you know how Gab, when people think of Gab, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the alt right platform. Well, people don't really do that
Oh,
with
okay.
Minds.
Gotcha,
I don't
gotcha.
know.
It hasn't been corrupted by the
Yeah.
by the alt right yet. That's good. I mean, weren't they trying to say that Discord was an alt right server too?
Well, yeah. People make jokes about that. Now it's a running gag. If you use Discord, they're like, "Are you a white supremacist?"
Well, I have a Discord, so I guess I'm a white supremacist.
Yeah, I don't know if I have you ever used Discord for a hangout like this.
No, never. I've never done the Hangout stuff. I always use Google or Google Hangouts.
I don't know. I
But
heard.
I wanted to start a Twitch though and start doing like game streams and just talk about what I'm playing.
I definitely encourage that. That's cool that you bring this up. I like YouTube a lot. I really love YouTube. It's keeping my brain stimulated. All the different ideas and different people and the conversation. But I really, really, really like Twitch because you can have a community of people with all sorts of different ideas. Like most people, like if you start talking about politics, man, everyone's gonna disagree. But
Right.
everyone just appreciates each other and jokes around and are able to, bond over like something without, because YouTube is, like I said, very divisive. I feel Twitch
Oh
is,
yeah, it has everyone in fights. This is my favorite YouTuber. I hate your YouTuber
yeah, Twitch is kind of
type
like
of
the
thing.
opposite of that. It's very
Yeah, I
cool.
definitely want to get on Twitch and see what that community's about. Maybe I can get a. That'd be awesome if one day I could get the same amount of viewers that I have on YouTube on a Twitch stream or something. That would be awesome.
Well, to be honest, if you're able to find a game with the right time of the day, and some of the games like they advertise on their Wikipedias and things like that, like there's
Something like
ways.
Fortnite or real popular one.
Well, not necessarily. Actually, I wouldn't suggest to go for the big popular games. To be honest,
Oh, just maybe something that's not being played as much.
yeah, you find a game that there's like maybe like 400 or 500 people watching, and if
Something like people like eager to get that content up or
yeah,
something
and if
like.
you manage to make your game like a bit more interesting than the other ones with a webcam or the music you play or whatever touch you add, then you can get at the top of that list. And once you have viewers there, then maybe you could switch to a more viewed game after.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Kind of get it with the other ones, not so played ones
Yeah, you
first.
get there's a science to it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I really
I'd probably
love it.
start with like Gears of War or something.
I
I
really
think
love it.
it has a big community.
I feel like a lot of people from YouTube and just the mainstream are just now figuring out Twitch, and I think the viewership is gonna keep booming because it's been booming recently. There's been some mainstream exposure with Fortnite,
Yeah, yeah.
so I think it's just gonna keep growing, man. Rappers and people like that are realizing that they can do this on the side, or like athletes, or I read an article the other day. It was this UK policewoman or something
Hmm.
that in her like after her work she became a cam not a she became a like Twitch streamer. Like she was like, but she had her boobies out and everything. Like she was really into it. I don't know. It was cool to see her all dressed up with a serious face as a police, and then sitting
Yeah.
in the gamer chair in the next picture. Man, the new generation, like I'm very hopeful about the future. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I love how, and you're right. A lot of people who kind of lost a little bit of the limelight as celebrity, they move over to these like YouTube or Twitch or something, and they immediately get a following, like where they couldn't. Um,
Or even if
you
you've got a big following, that's even crazier. Because like
right?
kids
Yeah.
can subscribe with a Twitch Prime,
Hmm.
so they could use like their parents' Amazon account and give instantly like a couple
Oh, okay. So
bucks.
Twitch already has that set up for the giving money and stuff.
Well, because Amazon owns Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they bought
Learn
Twitch,
something new.
and so if you have Amazon Prime, you can one person every month you can subscribe to their channel, so you get the emotes and shit.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so if let's say like a Jake Paul or any of those people, YouTube, as soon as they switched over there, they had all these young people switch over with their Amazon Prime ready. And then he
Yeah.
just said, well, just do that. And then boom, all of a sudden they get like, I don't even want to think how much, you know?
Yeah, I remember the Logan guys started on Vine, and they moved over to YouTube, blew up YouTube. Now they're huge on YouTube, and yeah, you can kind of once you gain an audience, they'll kind of follow you wherever.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for some of the bigger YouTubers to try to start that move, because the way that YouTube acts a lot of the times is just absolutely
Well,
ridiculous.
people give a lot of flack to Andy Worski about his Purple Dragon channel, and I'm like, no, man, you gotta do that because, trying to talk to people like you and I have been talking for an hour, or them, it's even more heated. Trying to talk to people like that for 8 or 12 hours a day, you can't do it. But if you
Yeah.
stream video games, like you can technically like wake up, play video games, and stream. So then you hang out with your fans, and then you go do food or whatever. Then you come back, you can stream at night.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That'd be awesome, because a lot of times, like, I kind of want to stream or whatnot or have fun, but I don't feel like having the deep conversations. So, but although I'm enjoying this one a lot,
No,
it
it's very understandable. It can
it
be
would be
draining.
like yeah, just hop on like with your coffee or something and play your favorite game and get views. How cool would that be? Like, I would love that.
Well, I definitely recommend it. Let's see chat. You remember how I asked them if they have questions?
Yeah.
Do you see any question? I don't see any tags.
I don't think there's any questions. Y'all got questions?
I'm gonna be reading all of the chat afterwards when I close the stream, just by myself, because I'm
Okay,
interested in
sweet.
all the comments of the people. But
Yeah, if anybody had something to say about me, let me know and I'll go after them. I'm just kidding.
everybody, by the way, I put your YouTube channel in the description of this.
Cool. Awesome.
I think it's supposed to appear like, hopefully no one said like the title was wrong or anything, so I imagine it's okay.
Well, no, I'm revoked from streaming right now, but once I'm up again, maybe you can come on my channel or something.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet. I intend to like I want to try to stream hop and just do a bunch more of like connecting with people. I like it
Yeah.
a lot. So yeah, that was a really fun talk. I'll remember you and I'll shoot you an invite when we have like multi talks as well if you're interested.
Oh
Like with
yeah,
a bunch of
absolutely.
people, that'd be cool.
Like in a group or something? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always down for that.
Well, like not a big group. Like, you gotta be
Well,
cohesive, but like maybe like 3, 4 people or something.
hey, that's all I meant. That's fine with me. I don't want to like 50 people.
When I walk in a, I'm gonna be honest here. When I walk in a live stream and there's like the whole bar at the bottom's filled with people, I get a bit like stressed out and this. I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm gonna watch something else. Like I get
I think
flustered.
most people do, to be honest. I think it's definitely intimidating. At least for me, I know it is for me. You know, being on YouTube as long as I have, it's not the easiest thing going into a stream with a bunch of people and being like, "Hey, what's up? These are my ideas, guys. I hope you like them."
Well, yeah, that's why I like to try to find like middle ground and stuff to talk on. That's why I went on the Sam Harris thing, and that's funny because I ended up when I asked you what you disagree with him on, I ended up defending him almost, which is pretty funny because
Yeah, well, I think we're definitely gonna have our disagreements. I know I disagree. I can find
that
um,
was cool. No, but
most
I
people I
liked it. It
disagree
was
with stuff.
surprising.
Yeah, no,
I
I enjoy the disagreement. I enjoy the defending my arguments and stuff. I think you have to do that sometimes in order to flush
I
them out.
as much as possible actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else did I wanted to
Which string
say?
did you break? What does that mean?
Well, because somebody said, man, Rosie in the chat, she said, man, I accidentally busted a guitar string the other day.
Oh, okay.
It
I
feels
got you.
bad, man. Yeah, I'm glad that they came in the chat. Thank you to everybody, by the way, that came and hanged out. There was like a consistent, like at least more than 5 people, which is really cool. It's the first time I do any kind of live stream. I didn't really give a heads up to people. I didn't make a video to advertise it or anything. It
Oh,
was
that's great then. Like heck, when I started live stream, I don't get much more. So, I mean,
I feel like if I do the preparation in advance next time,
yeah, shout it out. I should have shouted it out. Sorry, I should
or
have
if
done
I
a
do it
better
more
job doing
regularly,
that.
if I do it more
Oh,
regularly, people are gonna look for it more as
oh,
well.
absolutely. If you go live a bunch on the channel, people will start looking for that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
like because it shows the little live button
on
on
the
the side
top.
when you're
Yeah,
on YouTube.
yeah. Me, I only use the sidebar. I rarely go on the main page.
Yeah, when I see someone there, I definitely always go check to see like what they're doing live, just out of
Yeah.
curiosity.
So is everyone live streaming now? Well, I always wanted to have talks with people on my channel. When I had a debate with Destiny, I tried to have it live on my channel as well, but my internet was really bad, so I had to stop it. So I've been wanting to do these for a while, so I'm happy it's happening, and I'm happy you wrote me about it. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
no problem.
How
I thought I liked how you commented on that one video. I got freaking absolutely destroyed on that video. I've never in all my 120 something YouTube videos have I gotten that number, but it's all good with me.
Oh yeah, well my video I had to private it, but my video of the same the link I sent you, with the debate,
Yeah,
the comment section was pretty well. If you go on his channel, the comment section is pretty
it's pretty
special as
crazy.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met those types of fans before ever.
You really got to express yourself a certain way, and you got to know that no matter what you say, they're never going to admit that you got to them.
Oh yeah,
That is your point
yeah,
of view. So it doesn't matter. You do it for everybody else reading the comments.
yeah, definitely.
I do it, and then, like, I know it's probably going to get disliked to shit, but I know there's going to be at least, like, if there's, like, 150 people that hate it, there's going to be, like, 20 that agree or that didn't think
Well,
about it that way.
yeah, that's just like also when you go up against someone with more subs and stuff like that, it's bound to happen anyways, even if you are right, just because,
Yeah.
there's so many people who just don't like you because you went against,
Yeah.
the person they liked.
Well, especially I made a video about this after it. I wrote about no, after the event I made a video. It's like admitting you're wrong or whatever.
Hmm.
And it's funny because I linked another video in it. Uh Basically people, we lived on a time where like if you disagree with somebody, their views are so personal to them, attached to their person, that they feel like you're attacking them instead of
Right.
attacking their views. I think that's a
Yeah.
bigger problem.
I think I think that's absolutely true. And I try to steer away from that a lot of times myself. You think through these things so much, or at least I do, and you come to these conclusions, and then it's like someone comes in and says, well, actually you haven't thought about that in the correct way, and you're like, what? I've thought about this a bunch.
Yeah,
So
exactly. How can
I
you,
definitely
how
I
dare you?
definitely get it. But I try to not be like that as much as possible.
Maybe that's why I appreciated the talk so much, you know? I could
Yeah,
tell.
absolutely.
Fuck.
Did you
Well,
did you want to end it here now, or?
yeah, I think this is good. This is pretty good. Fuck, we went 10 extra minutes than I thought, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely then. Well, it was great talking to you, and let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Yeah, let's talk. Oh, last question. When are you getting your live streaming back on your channel?
I got a strike rate. I got two types of strikes. They have the copyright one, and then they have like the for violence or whatever. I don't know why I got that one, but it gets. I think it's like a month or something, or a little bit until they actually let me live stream again. You actually have to have no strikes to live stream, but maybe if the other Cogent Canine Live gets some subs, you can come on that one, or we'll figure something out.
Well, if you want to start live streaming, don't wait for your channel to be on live stream. Like, start right away on your other channel. That way you got like a rhythm going.
Oh yeah, I took your advice and I started. That's what
I
I'm on
saw
right now
that,
is
yeah.
Cogent Canine Live. So it was a great idea. I'm gonna start streaming on that when I'm bored and stuff. So
Fuck yeah. Well, if you make it Twitch, give me a heads up. I'll come check you out and shit.
absolutely. So how do I back out of the stream?
Um, we're
I'm just gonna exit out of the internet, I think.
Yeah, you could just close the Google Hangout video when we're done. Everybody, thank you for the chat, and go like and follow his YouTube channel. The link is down below. And on Twitter, you're also on Twitter. What other social medias
Uh,
you use?
if people want to see what I look like, they can look me up on Instagram, and I have a Facebook and all that.
And
So
mines, right?
and mine's, yeah, and it's all at Cogent Canine. So
Sweet, perfect. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice night, and let's talk again soon.
cool. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.